Hello, all you ghouls and girls. Thanks for tuning in to Bojuka Ball Radio.
With your host, MTG Ghoul Dude. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about the historic Brawl meta and the ups and downs of it. And the things I've seen, the games I've played, and how I go about getting games on Arena. But first, I really want to take a second and thank all the subscribers, everyone tuning in and listening. Every view counts, and I really appreciate all the likes and comments. So, let's get into it a little bit. Alright. So, to start off, let's take a look at the top decks on Arena from information collected over the past 90 days in the format, with all the stats brought to you by AetherHub. AetherHub.com. If you want to see the top deck list for yourself or check out the decks they have, it all there on the site under the MetaHub tab. But right now I just want to hit the top 10 so you can get a hint of what we are working with. So, the top 10 decks in the format are, and this comes with a of the meta, how much of the percentage of the meta it is, and the average win rate. So starting off, we have Goshintai of Life's Origin at 6.3% of the meta with a 58% average win rate. Coming in at number 2 is Ken and Bonder Prodigy at 3.98% of the meta and a 62% average win rate. The First Sliver at 3.47% of the meta and 60% average win rate. Joda the Unifier, 2.7% of the meta, 61% average win rate. Tatielva Benthic Druid at a 2.31% of the meta and a 59% average win rate. Golos, which kind of surprised me because I don't see a lot of Golos. Tireless Pilgrim at 2.3% of the meta and a 58% average win rate. Miriam Sentinel Worm at 2.19% of the meta with a 57% average win rate. The Arena Minskin Boon Timeless Heroes at 2.06% of the meta and a 60% average win rate. And last, coming up the end, is Adeline Resplendent Cathar at 1.8% of the meta with a 63% average win rate. Now, you may be wondering why I wanted to bring some of the top decks up in the format, even though this is not like a very competitive type of format. But I wanted to bring them up to say this, and in my opinion, from what I've seen, Arena is particular about its matchmaking. Yeah. Unfortunately, if you're playing with a commander with a higher average win rate, you can almost expect to go up against another decks with the higher averages also. You might also find that if the cards that you are sliding into the decks that you're playing are more like they're up there with in the decks that are in those higher power lists, you'll probably be paired up to the higher power decks, even if you're just putting it in there because they're synergistical. But I'm not really just telling y'all to just play funky cards to have fun games or run bad commanders. I'm really just trying to let y'all know and put it out there for you guys that to help let y'all don't go into your next game kind of blind, not knowing what to expect, if you can get that. But I'm not gonna say that I'm one of those like, well, I don't play the real big bad commanders. I play the yeah, I play some of the ones that are actually in the top 50 myself, like Giada Font of Hope, who is 23 on the list of 50 at the moment. Corvold Fakehurst King at 29, and Marwin the Nurturer at number 43, which is actually kind of low. But I say that to say this, I actually, because of the knowledge that I have of the meta and how powerful some of the commanders can be, I kind of already knew what I was signing up for whenever I was going to play these commanders or use them in decks. So I already knew I was going to go on ahead and get some hard knocks. But let's go on and shed a little bit more light on that top 50 list I mentioned earlier. And I will say that some of these did surprise me with their rankings, because some of them I thought would be here are nowhere to be seen. I'll be this time around I will be actually excluding the percent of the meta and the average win rate to save a little bit more time. So this is our top 11 through 50 in this past 90 days. Sith's Harvest Hand, Azusa Lost But Seeking, Raga Draga, Gorgut's Boss, Niv Mizzet Perun, Turgrid, which I was actually kind of surprised it wasn't a little higher, Tasha Unholy Archmage, which is one of those Portal, no, not the Portal, but the Adventures of the Forgotten Realms, I think. Eska, God of the Tree, that's a menace, in my opinion. Light Paws, Emperor's Voice, Jetmir Nexus of Revels, Heliod Suncrowned. I've actually went up against a Heliod deck and won multiple different kinds of games with some jank sometimes. Muxus Goblin Grandy, Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief, there's Giada, Yorion, Sky Nomad, Kodama of the West Tree, Rafine Scheming Seer, Joda Archmage Eternal, Halana Elena Partners, Corvold Fakehurst King, that's my boy, Tiamat, Nicobolus the Ravager, Soren Imperious Bloodlord, Teferi Hero of Dominaria, Chatterfang Squirrel General, the Gitrog Monster, which was no surprise. Shieldred the Apocalypse has made it onto the list. Teferi Who Slows the Sunset, because in Historic Brawl you can actually use commanders that are planeswalkers. So that's a thing. Tulane Tail of Tales, Nicobolus Godpharaoh, Teferi Time Raveler, the arena version. Jadar, Ghoulcaller, and Ophelia, which is actually one that kind of surprised me, because I don't expect any kind of zombie decks to actually be in like the top of, you know, the meta. But I mean, you know, I guess, you know, they are, if they're there, they're there. There we see Barwin the Nurturer, Yarok the Desecrated, Jorah Weatherlight Captain, Acerak the Archlich, the arena version, Liliana of the Veil, after it not too long ago had been brought back into arena. Brawl Chief of Compliance, who was actually, if you didn't play during whenever Brawl first came out, Brawl was actually banned as a Brawl commander in 60 card whenever it was the format was hot at its very newest beginnings, because everybody was just playing blue control. And then we come up to round it out with the last two, Nalia de Arnis and Domri Chaosbringer. Now, I'm not going to lie, that was a lot. And even if you have or have not played against them, it is kind of good to know where the meta is at the moment. And now you may be wondering what to do with this information now that you have it. And that will take me into what I wanted to talk about next. And that's getting into games and trying to figure out if you need to go on ahead and just dip out, or just try and see if you can pull a quick one out. Alright, so, and this is how you use this knowledge and decide whether, and this is how I use the knowledge I have to decide whether I try to concede or I try to find the match on arena. For instance, it's really just mostly for me, like, I like to preferably try to stay within my power level that I know is going to just be the best for me to be able to get a game. So, like, I've actually played my Captain Ripley Vance deck on arena, and to hit that spell daily, that red spell daily. And I definitely don't want to go up against a deck that I know is going to have an outrageous amount of removal or answers for everything I do, like mono blue or something like that. Because that, to me, just drags out the game and it makes it pretty much miserable.
Emotional damage.
Yep. You want to find a matchup that will allow for good interactions for both players and will yield a possibility of victory for either side, in my opinion. Remember, you don't just have to settle for whatever the matchmaker gives you. You decide who you play and what decks you go against. And don't let people tell you that you need to get good or you need to play better decks to be able to win or have fun. Because, I mean, we all build how we're going to build. Being able to build a deck and customize it to you is what Magic is all about. It may seem off-putting when you have to bounce out of a couple games in a row, but when you finally get that one really good game that has you on the edge of your seat near up to the end, it makes the victory sweeter, and in even my opinion, even the loss may not seem that bad. Because, I mean, it makes you a better deck builder, it makes you a better player, and it, all in all, it helps overall in the community when you become better, and you might see another player like out, you know, in real life, not on arena, to teach them what you learned from your losses. Because, I mean, a loss today is knowledge gained for tomorrow. But I know this was kind of short. This is like the first run trial of it, and I really wanted to kind of get into something I could get into and kind of get out of real quick. But I really hope I help somebody out with this, and I hope that you guys enjoy me branching out into different forms on this platform we have. Magic is a truly great game, and I've met tons of people and been to some really cool places, some awesome game stores, and I hope I can continue to bring you guys content that helps you out so we can continue to grow this awesome community we have. If you liked hearing me ramble on and give my take on this subject, let me know by leaving a like. If you're not subscribed, hit that button. Then if there are any topics that you guys want me to cover, leave them in the comment section down below. I read all the comments, and you know, but it is what it is. I really appreciate y'all. I really do. One point in time, I was actually like just crushed by anxiety because I didn't know if I could really just get on YouTube, and you guys have helped me get used to it, and you know, the likes help, the comments help, they really do. And I mean, if you want to do this kind of thing, if you want to be a content creator yourself, I mean, I wouldn't say do it for, you know, don't do it for the likes and all that. Do it for what you get out of it. Because what I'm doing, I'm getting out of, you know, spreading the word of zombie, the plague. But that will be it for today, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll say it forever. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Bojuka Bog Radio. And that'll be it. I will see you guys next time in the graveyard.